Men should always understand the most common signs and symptoms of HIV because one day it could potentially save their life. Because knowing these key things can help them avoid getting HIV potentially in the future. Men also need to understand the most common risk factors of developing HIV and the best ways to prevent HIV from occurring. As a result, this video will go over HIV symptoms in men, the risk factors for developing HIV, and go over some critical information on how to prevent this disease from occurring in the first place. So let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to Hawks Health. It's great to see you. I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. If you're interested in any at-home STD screening kits, I left a link in the description below with a discounted code, but I'm going to discuss them a little bit more in detail later, so stay tuned. Remember that this channel is completely supported by you, so if you're interested in supporting me, please consider liking and subscribing below. That will be a huge help. And if you have any questions, please consider writing them in the comments below because I try to answer those as much as possible. Definitely stay to the end of the video because I'm also going to discuss some very important facts and some great myths about HIV, so you definitely don't want to miss out. HIV continues to be a significant issue for tens of millions of people worldwide, killing hundreds of thousands of people annually, unfortunately. In a nutshell, HIV stands for the human immunodeficiency virus. It's a virus that attacks our immune system, specifically our CD4 white blood cells. How people get HIV is through contaminated blood most commonly, but also semen, vaginal secretions, and sometimes breast milk. Unfortunately, there's no cure for HIV currently, but with early diagnosis and treatment, people can live a long life with little to no major issues. On the other hand, it's very important to understand this, HIV without the proper diagnosis and treatment can progress to AIDS, which is also called acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and it could be life-threatening. Now that we got a good background, let's dive into the risk factors of developing HIV. All right, the risk factors of developing HIV, meaning who are at risk of developing HIV. Number one is unprotected intercourse. So unprotected intercourse meaning without a condom, especially with receptive anal intercourse, but it can also occur through vaginal intercourse. Next is sharing of contaminated needles, like with IV drug users. Another risk factor is through blood transfusions from blood from an HIV positive person. Accidental needle sticks, where somebody gets poked, like in a hospital setting, when somebody accidentally gets poked through a contaminated needle from an HIV positive person. And another risk factor is having multiple sexual partners. That makes sense. If you have multiple sexual partners, you have multiple opportunities to have intercourse with somebody who is positive for HIV. There are other risk factors, but those are the most common ones. On to some good ways to prevent HIV. Number one, utilize condoms. Condoms act as a barrier protection and can help prevent somebody from getting HIV, although it's not 100%, it can help. Next is abstinence. And of course, if you don't have intercourse with somebody who's HIV positive, then you lower your chances of getting HIV in that way. Getting an STD check is always a good option, especially if you plan on being in a long-term monogamous relationship with somebody. That way you can get an STD panel for a myriad of STDs, including HIV, and ensure they're negative and you can have unprotected intercourse without any major concerns. Next is HIV pre-exposure prophylaxis. This can be an option if somebody has high risk factors for HIV, meaning they're having multiple sexual partners, having unprotected intercourse, especially anal intercourse, then they could talk with their providers about pre-exposure prophylaxis. These are medication treatment options that are highly effective, but there is some pros and cons. So you definitely want to get in with your provider and discuss the risks, the benefits, and the alternatives prior to starting, because there is some pros and cons that you need to know. Next is post-exposure prophylaxis, which is a medication that somebody can take after they're exposed to a bodily fluid from an HIV positive person. This is something, again, that a provider has to discuss the risks, the benefits, and the alternatives, because there is some pros and cons to taking this medication. But certainly if you're exposed, you would definitely want to consider taking post-exposure prophylaxis. So that's something you definitely want to discuss with your provider. Last is routine STD checks, meaning somebody, if they're having high-risk sexual activity, meaning multiple sexual partners, having anal intercourse, having unprotected intercourse, it's always a good idea to get screened about every 3 to 6 months just in case, because if somebody is diagnosed with HIV, you want to catch it early and get treatment early. And that's where the sponsor of today's video, Let's Get Checked, can step in. They're an online STD screening company that also has some other tests. Individuals can can order an STD panel online. This company will send out an STD kit to you. You complete it in the privacy of your own home and send it back. They will then run the labs in their accredited lab and send you your results. They have a great app that you can see your results right there in front of you. I left a link in the description below with a discounted code if you're interested. There's several different options out there on how to get an STD check that are no cost or low cost, or you can just go see your provider. But if you're interested in more information on how to get an STD check, check out the video above. Without proper treatment of HIV, it will progress in stages. First, it will be the acute HIV infection stage, then the chronic HIV infection stage, then it can progress to the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome stage. During the acute HIV infection stage, it usually occurs around 2 to 4 weeks after getting infected with HIV, and people can have a myriad of symptoms like headaches and chills, fever and night sweats, joint or muscle pains, sore throat or fatigue, swollen lymph nodes or rash, or sometimes people can be completely asymptomatic. Sometimes the symptoms just may be short-lived, like a few days, or somebody might think, oh, I just had the flu. During the chronic HIV infection stage, it's notoriously known as the asymptomatic stage, and that's why it's nicknamed asymptomatic HIV infection stage, also called clinical latency. Unfortunately, due to that chronic HIV infection stage, by a lot of people being asymptomatic, it can progress to the AIDS stage, the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome stage. AIDS is the final and most severe stage, and at this point, their immune system is so severely damaged that they're more inclined at getting various types of infections like pneumonia. Again, without treatment, and maybe with treatment at this point, people can continuously get ill, and they typically don't survive past 2 or 3 years on average. So we had the question earlier, how to tell if you have HIV, and that's just a loaded question because it ranges, right? As I discussed earlier, during the acute stage, some people may have symptoms, other people may not have any symptoms. During the chronic stage, most people are asymptomatic, and then by the time AIDS pops up, usually people are having symptoms. So usually by that time, people kind of know, oh, I keep getting sick and I'm not getting better. I need to seek treatment. And that's usually when a diagnosis is made, unfortunately. Now onto the interesting facts. Fact number 1. HIV likely came from a type of chimpanzee in Central Africa. It is thought that humans were butchering and eating chimpanzees. I know it's gross, but they were doing that, and then the chimpanzee virus was able to get transmitted to humans in the 1800s. Fact number 2, anyone is at risk of getting HIV from contaminated fluids. Although there's people who are at higher risk of developing HIV by sharing contaminated needles or having unprotected intercourse with somebody who's HIV positive, anybody could really get it from contaminated fluids. Fact 3, around 70% of people who are positive for HIV are from sub-Saharan Africa, and around 75% of HIV and AIDS diagnoses are males. On to the myths. You can get HIV from handshaking and toilet seats. This is false. You can't get HIV from holding hands, from toilet seats, or bee stings, or other insect stings. You can't get it from sweat or just hanging out with somebody. Oral birth control prevents HIV. This is false. Again, oral birth control helps prevent pregnancy, but it doesn't protect against any STDs. HIV will progress to AIDS. Again, this is false, because if we are able to catch it and treat it early, people can live a long life with treatment and management of their HIV. That wraps up today's video on HIV symptoms in men. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing below. Otherwise, until next time.